Radioddity has recently released a new vertical antenna design specifically with POTA and SOTA in mind, and we're going to be taking a look at it today. Inside of this case right here is the new HF-009 HF antenna from Radioddity. And I actually saw this antenna in person for the first time on display at the Radioddity booth at Dayton Hamvention, and I gotta say I was really impressed with the build quality of this antenna. Just holding it in my hands and just looking at this antenna, I was really impressed with it. So I knew that I had to get my hands on this antenna and try it for myself. And Radioddity was actually nice enough to send me this antenna to try it out for myself and to make this review. And after receiving this antenna and having more of a chance to look it over a little bit more myself and just hold it a little bit longer, I'm even more impressed with the build quality of this antenna. And I'm also really excited to go take this thing out to the park and try it out here in the next few minutes. And one of the things that I think I'm most impressed with this antenna so far, just before I've even had a chance to get it out at the park and get it set up, is just the simplicity of the antenna and the design. Everything just screws together, and I really like the internal loading coils compared to one like my loading coil for my MFJ Big Stick, where you gotta actually like take the alligator clamps and clamp it on each coil. I really like that this one just has the internal coil where you just move it up and down. So Radioddity actually says that this antenna is designed to cover from 5 megahertz up to 50 megahertz, or from 60 meters up to 6 meters. And also this antenna is designed to handle 100 watts on CW and 150 watts on single sideband. And Radioddity also says as far as the SWR goes, you can expect around 1 to 1.5 SWR on all the bands. So now I think is a good time to take it over to the bench and we'll get a closer look at this thing, and I'll show you guys what comes in the case and everything before we take it out to the park. So inside of this case is the Radioddity HF-009 antenna, and the case itself with the antenna and everything inside of it weighs in at just under 4.5 pounds or so, and the carrying case in also is about, let's see if I measure it here, about a little over 19 inches in length, and let's see, a little over 7 inches wide, and about 3 inches deep. So now let's have a look at what's inside of the case. So this case has this nice zipper on it that runs very smoothly. And I'll also say this case is really well made. It has this nice mesh pouch here as well to hold everything in place. And then it also has these nice elastic straps as well. And full disclosure, I have already opened this thing up and looked at it. So this is not the first time that I'm opening the box, but this is the first time that I'm showing you guys what the inside of the box looks like. Inside of the carrying case, it has, like I said, all these elastic and Velcro straps to hold all the different pieces in place. Also has this nice mesh zipper pouch as well to store everything that's inside of it. Comes with a user manual, which probably don't need to carry that around on a daily basis, but I'll be probably carrying it around to the park anyway, just to make sure I set this up right. And then also inside this pouch, we have these 3 16.5-foot radials with banana plugs on them. And then it also comes with coax as well. This is going to be, I believe, 16 feet of coax. It doesn't say what kind of coax, but it's SO239 connectors on the ends here. And then there's also a SO239 to B and C male adapter in here as well. And also inside of here is a nice little carrying case strap as well, so you can carry this on your shoulder if you want to. We have these 3 rods here, and you notice 2 of them don't have a loading coil on them. These are just extension rods to get the antenna up a little bit higher. This is the loading coil itself, and then we also have the base portion of the antenna as well. It has a nice ground spike as well with this nice little silicone cover on it to keep you from poking yourself. So SO239 connector, and then these threads on them as well. So inside the case we have these 3 different rods for the antenna, one of which is an internal adjusting loading coil, just slides out once you've undone the Velcro, and inside of it is just a loading coil to tune the antenna. And also one more thing to note with this internal loading coil here, that also means that it is designed to be waterproof and more durable than other external loading coils as well. These are just extension rods. These are just to elevate the antenna, get it up a little bit higher off the ground, because these 2 extension rods go into the base portion of the antenna, and then the loading coil goes at the top of the antenna as well, which from what I've heard, that actually tends to makes it a little bit easier to tune a loading coil when it's a little bit more elevated off the ground. That's just some people that I know have told me that before. And then finally we have this telescopic rod here. I don't remember how long this telescopic whip is, but this basically just goes up on top of the loading coil, and you can bring it up or bring it down to adjust for different bands as well. And now I'll show you guys the base of the antenna. So again, on this antenna we have the ground spike right here. Stick this in the ground, and then there's your SO239 connector, and then on the top you remove this cap here. Everything else just screws into this, and all of them use this connector. I don't remember what this connector thread is, but yeah, everything just threads into this base portion of the antenna. And I looked at the coax earlier. The coax doesn't say if it's RG8X. It doesn't have any markings on it, so don't know what kind of coax this is. And then inside this bag again, we have our 3 16-foot radials that attach to the base of the antenna. And they just have these banana plug style connectors on each of them. And I'll say this is some pretty nice wire. These don't have any markings on them either, so I don't know what these are, what kind of gauge these are, or anything like that. But they're definitely, it doesn't feel like very cheaply made cable. These feel pretty durable just holding these in my hand. Everything feels durable. Even the telescopic whip just feels really, really durable. The case itself is really well made. These elastic straps don't feel too cheap. The Velcro feels like it's gonna probably last a while. And then again, the loading coil, very nice and smooth inside there. Doesn't really click or anything. It means you can really set this thing as low or high as you want to. So that's really nice. And then again, this is just the top. All of them have these nice little connector covers on them as well. And this just threads the telescopic whip into the top. All right, so get everything packed back in here. It's pretty easy. Everything fits in this nice mesh there, and I'll probably end up adding some other things into here as well just to carry inside my case, but everything fits inside nice, everything that I could possibly want. The zipper feels like it's pretty rugged and not gonna fall apart either. So we're actually in my backyard today, and the reason that is because it's just been raining non-stop here in Oklahoma for the past few days, and rather than try to dodge rain and stuff at the park, I figured that we would just do it in the backyard and get it done with. And so I've actually taken this antenna. This is the Radioddity HF-009. I've taken it out to the park about a month ago, but the bands were not good at all that day, and I ended up having to activate the park on FT8. You could see I got contacts pretty much all over the United States on the POTA activation that I took it to when I was originally testing it out. So you could see, got out pretty well all over the United States. So that is what that activation looked like. And rather than shortchanging this antenna and showing you guys an FT8 activation, I figured I would just show you guys how well this antenna actually performs on single sideband, because this antenna actually performs really, really well. I've taken it out a few other times and played around with it, and I've had great results playing around with this antenna so far. So we're gonna get this set up back here in the backyard, and then we're gonna get it on the air. All right, so to set up this antenna, it's really pretty easy. You just open up the case, and first thing you need to do is pull out the spike, and I'm gonna stick it roughly in the middle of the yard. So probably about, right about here. This is a nice kind of flat area. And you don't wanna put it all the way into the ground, just kind of partially in the ground. And then the next thing you do is you take your extension rods and then you screw it into the base of the antenna. Screw the second element to the extension rod. And then take your element with the loaded coil and screw that into the extension rods, and then take your telescopic whip, screw it to the tuning coil, raise it up. I think I'm gonna hit the bottom of the tree canopy. I'm just gonna go ahead and extend this all the way up. There we go. And now, besides the coax, all we need to do is take our ground radials and Plug them into the base of the antenna and stretch them out. And then now for our last one. Stretch it out as well. And that is all you have to do to get this thing set up. All you need to do now is take your length of coax that they provide, or any other coax that you might want to use. Maybe you want to use messium polony. Well, you can use that as well. Take that and connect it to your radio, connect it to the base of the antenna, and then you're ready to get on the air. This antenna is up and ready to go in less than 5 minutes. So just before I get started trying to make some contacts with this antenna, I just want to kind of show you guys the SWR sweeps real quick. So I actually put this antenna on my Nano VNA last weekend and actually ran some SWR sweeps on it. And I will say it actually performed really well. So here are some of the results, and I'll show them to you guys here on the screen. So as you can see on 60 meters, it's very much a narrowly banded V-notch SWR. And I took my reading at about 5.7 megahertz and found a 1.2 SWR. So on the screen right now, what you're seeing is an SWR sweep of 40 meters. And you can see around about 7.1 megahertz. That's kind of the middle spot of the band. And I tried to just take a sample from the middle of each band roughly. But you can see there's a nice dip there. It dips down to about a 1.13 SWR. So that's 40 meters. It's got a nice dip there. So 30 meters was so narrowly banded, I was not able to get a decent SWR, so I forgot to actually take a screenshot of that, but I could not get 30 meters to tune in just because it's so narrowly banded. However, I was able to use the internal tuner on my Xiegu X6100 and get a low enough SWR to be able to use 30 meters. On 20 meters, it's a little bit more of a widely banded antenna in 20 meters, and that's pretty dang close to a 1.01 to 1 SWR match on the antenna at around 14.2, so around 14,200 megahertz. There's a nice dip there. And then on 17 meters, it's a very widely banded antenna. You can see a very nice flat line SWR reading of 1.3 at about 18.1 megahertz. And for 15 meters, most I got was about a 1.5 SWR on 15 meters. 12 meters, about a 1.5 SWR as well. Again, nice bowl-shaped SWR line there as well. And 10 meters, about a 1.4 SWR, same thing, pretty wide across the band. And then for 6 meters, because this antenna does also do 6 meters, I got about a 1.2, 1.3 SWR, pretty much across the entire band. So as far as SWRs are concerned, I think this antenna actually performed really well. It's a little bit more narrow as you go towards 40 meters or so, but as you go further down and further higher up in frequency, it starts to kind of broaden out, especially you saw is around 10 meters, 6 meters especially. Very wide broadband across pretty much the entire band. Nice SWR lower than at least 2. So if your radio has, say, an internal tuner and you're having a little bit of trouble tuning this antenna in, I think you could definitely just kind of click your antenna tuner and just really kind of clean it up a little bit. Overall though, again, that is on the Nano VNA, straight from the antenna, no tuner. So that is the actual SWR that I found on this antenna. Your results may vary depending on your ground, your soil, and how you also configure the antenna, because this antenna is very sensitive. I noticed even when I was just kind of putting my hands close to the antenna to raise the elements up, it would really greatly affect the SWR. So I think this antenna is really high Q, and it does not take a lot to change the SWR of this antenna. So even just a small slight movement on the tuning coil, this antenna changes SWR greatly, and so it's very sensitive. It's kind of a little bit hard to tune in at first, but I noticed as I kept going and just working on tuning it, I kind of got the hang of it. And as you guys can also see, I also made some marks on the antenna, just different spots on the tuning coil where I would want to tune the coil to be able to adjust the antenna and tune things in. I recommend doing that as well. I just did some quick ones. I didn't do anything too in depth. I probably will go back at some point and make a little bit more detailed marks on it, put some better labels on it. But really tuning the antenna was pretty easy after getting the hang of it. So now with the SWR sweeps out of the way, let's go ahead and get this antenna on the air. So for today's test, we're gonna be using my Xiegu X6100, and the reason I wanted to use my Xiegu X6100 is because it's gonna add a little bit more of a challenge. I won't be above 10 watts while I'm testing this antenna, so you'll kind of get a good idea of just how good this antenna is and how well it performs. So right now I've got the antenna tuned for 20 meters, and that seems to be where everybody's at today. So see if we can make some contacts. My goal is going to be 10 contacts.
Kilo Echo November, Colorado QSO Party, CQ.
Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo.
Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo. Operator here is Kevin, Kilo Echo Victor India November. Your name and state, please.
Yeah, my name is Chase in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, thanks for reaching out to this here Colorado QSO Party. Do appreciate your contact. Have a great day today, 73.
73. Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo.
Roger, Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo. This is Kilo Mike 5, Romeo Victor Alpha. The name is Ken, Kilo Echo November. I'm in Montrose County, Colorado for the contest. That's Mike Oscar Tango, QSL.
QSL, I got you 5-9 here in Oklahoma.
Roger, I've got Oklahoma. I need your name, please.
Chase in Oklahoma.
Roger, Chase, thanks for Oklahoma, and thanks for answering my call. Have a good weekend, 7-3.
7-3. All right, we've got 2 in Colorado. We've got such a high noise floor here, it really does make things a lot harder.
Colorado QSO Party.
Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo.
Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo. Mainline Italy Delta County. Denmark Echo Lima.
QSL, got you 5-9 here in Oklahoma. 5-9 Oscar Kilo, QSL.
QSL, thank you. Whiskey 0 India Zulu. Contact.
All right. Got 3 contacts in Colorado so far. See what else we can find. So I didn't realize that my camera had died. So in addition to those 3 phone contacts that I made, I actually have made 3 CW contacts as well. So right now we're up to 6 contacts. So see how many more we can get. All right, we got him. I've been learning Morse code lately, so just kind of trying to make some more CW contacts. That's the way that I learn, is by immersing myself. All right, so we're up to 7 contacts now. Let's see if we can find anybody else. All right, we got him too. That was rough, but he copied me right. All right, we're up to 9 QSOs. So far, I mean, a lot of the QSOs that I've made have been within Colorado, Utah, Missouri, and Kansas, and that's because there's a QSO party going on right now in Kansas and Colorado. So they've got their QSO parties going on, so there's a lot of people on from those areas. So having a hard time really getting out beyond that, because that's really who all's on right now, at least that I'm hearing within my noise floor, because my noise floor here at the house is just so bad. Let's see if we get a sideband. Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo.
Kilo India station again?
Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo.
Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo. Chase, I've got you a 5-5 in the park.
Was that a 5-5?
Roger, roger.
Copy the 5-5. I got you 5. 5-9 here in Oklahoma. And is your call sign Alpha India 5 Sierra Mike?
Roger, roger. Copy the 5-9 Oklahoma. Thanks for running 7-3.
7-3. All right, so that's 10, but I'm not going to stop there. See what else we can pick up.
QRZ, November 0 Yankee.
Kilo India 5 India Romeo Echo.
There was a 5 in there.
Kilo India 5 India Romeo Echo.
Kilo India 5, India Romeo Echo. QSL?
QSL, QSL.
You are 5-9 into Cloud County, Kansas. That's CLO. QSL?
QSL, QSL. You're 5-9 here into Oklahoma County, Oklahoma. QSL.
QSL, Oklahoma. Thank you. 7-3.
All right, we got Kansas again.
Whiskey 0 Lima. QRZ.
Kilo India 5 India Romeo Echo.
Station ending Echo.
Kilo India 5 India Romeo Echo.
Kilo India 5 India Romeo Echo 5-9 Romeo Echo November.
Copy 5-9 Romeo Echo November. You're 5-9 Oklahoma.
Thanks for Oklahoma. 7-3. Whiskey 0 Lima. November 0 Lima Fox Kilo QRZ.
Kilo India 5 India Romeo Echo.
Kilo India 5 station. Kilo India 5 again.
Kilo India 5 India Romeo Echo.
Kilo India 5 India Romeo Echo. QSL.
QSL, QSL.
I got you about a 5-2 here in the park. 4566 Douglas County, Kansas. QSL.
QSL on the 5-2 into Douglas County, Kansas. I got you 5-9 here in Oklahoma, Oscar Kilo.
QSL, no, so it's Oklahoma. All right, I'll say 7-3s and thanks for the contact. This is November 0 Lima.
All right.
Kilo.
So I made about 13 contacts, and let's see. I made most of them on sideband and about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them on CW. So like I said, this antenna is a lot of fun. Kind of the same thing I ran into as last time, except this time it was just more so that all the strong stations that I were hearing are part of the contest that's going on today. The Kansas QSO party and the Colorado QSO party. And then my noise floor here at the house is just so high, it's really hard to hear weaker stations. So one of the other reasons that I wanted to get my hands on this antenna and review it is because I think this antenna is an excellent antenna for small spaces like I'm in. So maybe you live in a house or a duplex where you don't have a lot of room, or you don't have the ability to mount an antenna to your house. Maybe your landlord has restrictions against that, or HOA restrictions. This antenna is great for that. This antenna is super portable. When you're ready to place a radio, just take the antenna out, put it together, and then when you're done, put it all back in the case, and nobody will ever know that you even had an antenna out and we're using it. So I think this antenna is great for that. Also, I feel like it's a great antenna for me when I'm doing Parks on the Air camping. So for instance, I took this antenna with me to Huntsville Hamfest, and I activated a park in Arkansas with it one of the nights that we camped there, and I think I activated another park in Alabama as well with this antenna, and it worked great. Both times was not very hard to set up. I got it on the air within 5 minutes. I love the fact that this antenna is very, very simple to put together. The only thing that was a little bit of a challenge for me was actually tuning the antenna, because I don't use a lot of loaded coil vertical antennas. So getting used to tuning the loading coil and the antenna width was a little bit of a challenge for me. I haven't done it in a long time, and most of the time that I use my other vertical, my MFJ Big Stick, I'm using an external tuner on it, and I don't have a loading coil on it. You know, it's just straight off of a mirror mount. So that was a little bit of a challenge for me, but that was on my part because I haven't done that in a while. There's good instructions in the manual that comes with the antenna as well. I am not always great about reading instructions, so I just kind of figure things out on my own. But if your thing is reading instructions and all that, they come with instructions in there that tell you how to do things the right way. I really enjoyed my time playing with this antenna the last few weeks. I'm gonna be using this antenna a lot on my POTA activations, you know, camping, Huntsville Hamfest, Dayton Hamfest trips that I take every year, setting up the antenna and leaving it for a few days to play around with. I think that's what I'm gonna be using it most for, hiking with it, probably not so much, just because I don't like carrying things in my hands when I hike, but this is a great antenna to keep in the truck and set up at the park when I'm going to be doing things stationary or I'm parked next to where I'm activating, you know. Also, the build quality of this antenna is really nice. It's very well made. I was surprised at how well made this antenna actually was for the price of $199. So I've enjoyed this antenna a lot, and I think some of you guys might as well. So if you were interested in picking one of these antennas up for yourself, I will leave a link down in the description below. Again, it's about $199 on Radioddity's website, and they were nice enough to send me this antenna. But also along with that link down there will also be a coupon code as well. We'll save you $15 at checkout as well. So just again, thank you to Radioddity for sending me this antenna to test out. I really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed this antenna. I'll definitely be using this antenna quite a bit when I go camp. Thank you guys for watching. If you have not already, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Those three things just help support the channel as well. And until next time, guys, 73.